Make him wanna. Shivana representing Faruga.
Yes. Welcome back. We are back. We are definitely back. We missed all of you. And happy new month.
Happy new month.
It's Leo season. It's Leo season. And we are saying Teddy Kuziki Zamulio. Teddy Kuziki. Let's continue doing our wellness till the last day of the year. So today we are here.
Till we die.
You get. And I have the most amazing crew in the building. My name is Sweet Chocolate and I'll be your host today.
Biggest bark.
Yeah, for the first time and to stay forever.
Yeah, that's my position. Please don't take it. I am the permanent fixture here. Unless you're permanent fixture number 2, but I'm number 1. So be here, the slightly older but gently used woman.
Fia's here. Nice to meet you all. It's my first time here. Binyum, I can't wait.
Hey! And you're also welcome. You look so beautiful. And today it's going to be about cramps. Oh God. Just to tell you, welcome back from the summit. The studio is on fire because
we are BaQueer Twogere. She said what she said.
The studio is burning. And my name is Sweet Chocolate. And today's conversations are going to be around our menstrual health summit. Over in the midweek of July, we had a menstrual health summit that was the first ever of its kind. And it was centered around claiming dignified menstruation. Woo-hoo. Because menstruation is a health right. It is a right, a human right that is deserved of every woman. To go in their peace, happy, with water, with enough pads, without complaints. So today I want to do like a recap. I want to go back in time and see what was the most outstanding thing during the summit for all of us. Did you like that space? Did you like our facilitator? Did you like the membership? Like, what was your most important takeaway? So for this first round, we'll come back and tell us something that was unique.
I like it, being her first time amongst us. The way she managed it was very, very, very interesting. But also, the participants, the members really shared. Amidst us, we had doctors, and
some of the biggest takeaways was the myths and what people spoke about their experiences. Man, people's experiences are vast. And then one of the most humbling moments for me was when one of us, who is a sex worker, but also an ill woman, what they told us they do for them to be able to continue facilitating their customers during this period. Because, at the end of the day, they must earn, they must eat. And then, because when it comes to menstruation, the days vary for all of us. Someone told us they only have 2 hours of menstruation per month. The shock on my face was out there. I'm like, hey mama, where are you here for? Go 7 days. Now, I imagine an LBQ sex worker that goes 7 days. That means 7 days they're not going to be able to eat because they cannot sell. And yet they sell sex. So they have to find ways of being able to block that blood and be able to work and earn. So for me, that was very humbling. I realized where my privilege is. For me, it is a privilege that I don't do that work. And it was quite humbling for me as a person. So, yeah.
For me, you said the 2 hours and my mind clicked immediately. This person said, first of all, they fell pregnant and then their periods came after when they were 17. That blew me away completely. I'm like, first of all, how does the body already start to do all these things before it gives you the signal on when to? And then they say for their entire life, until this age, they only go for periods for 2 hours. You people, you're out here, your back, your leg, your head you're struggling in this life to make sense of why you exist as a woman. I mean, we think about it as luck, but I can see how you don't know if your body is also right for you in that moment, or is it fighting you now? Why am I experiencing these things without notice? But that stood out for me so much. The other thing was the experiences, the things that you've been told as, say, a masculine presenting woman, about the shock from your caregivers and your parents of, but we didn't expect you always behaved like a boy. Why do you have this? As if you don't still have the same vagina, the same uterus, and all of these things that bleed the same way as any other woman that existed. Well, I mean, we don't have the same, but I mean in the sense that they don't expect you to start bleeding because, or you present a certain way, and so they don't want your body to do what your body does. So the experiences that people shared was, I think for that whole session, I just kept quiet. I was just just listening. But yeah.
I can't add anything more onto that. I think even me personally, I was in awe because being in having had experiences from cis straight women, most of the experiences are cliche, like headache, I get periods at this time, but being in an LBQ space, I was able to realize so many stuff, how Subi put it, there was a vast, a diverse, a great number of experiences which I had never had before. I'd always been used to that cliche, headache, cramps, and then someone here tells you 2 hours. Someone tells you they have to work. At the same time, they're in their peace. When you're in the cis-hetero world, you don't get to hear this. So someone will just tell you, I have your periods, but they will not get into the nuisance of that. So it was really humbling for me.
Me also, I think, oh my God, what shocked me was the anxiety and the wanting to be perfect during your period. This person shared that they don't put a pad by themselves because they are scared that they'll put it wrongly, and then they wear it and then it will maybe fall out, or the chiba will go on their skirt. But imagine somebody growing up to the age of 20 something, and they're still scared because society has made blood feel like it's dirty, so do you what? But when you find blood there, would you know it's chiba blood? If it was so we need to create more friendly and kinder space. But you'll be there wanting to smell that thing.
No, that's the thing about human psychology. Even when they tell you don't look, somehow the eyes will go. That is where the eyes would go. So you cannot know. So there's a certain curiosity that comes with wanting to know. So you might end up smelling it, not knowing, and then that is when you realize, oh,
yeah. So thank God for this summit. I just want maybe to give us a recap of some of the things that we did in the 3 days. So day 1, I remember we had a queer framing of menstruation, where here we're just talking about the patriarchy and the colonial imbalance, how everything plays. Yes, the culture of menstruation and how queer persons have been affected by all of this environment of non-inclusivity. And then on day 2, we had members going into their groups, and that was I liked it because it gave us time for us to chill a bit. Informally, and then let the members just discuss their own voice and tell us what they want to know. And I feel like it was a very nice. How did you like the group sessions? For those who participated, how did you like the group sessions?
They're actually very interesting. People would share their different ideas, and you're like, oh, what's that? There are things we don't think about as we go through our personal experiences, and in those group sessions, you could tell how diverse we are and how we experience menstruation differently in the different aspects of our lives wherever we stay. How poverty affects all of us or affects some of us. How privileged you are about certain things. Yeah, I mean, someone spoke about how they faint, and I'm privileged. I do not faint. I cannot imagine just passing out in front of probably in a strange space, yes? And sometimes you may not be able to identify that fact that you failed. And then someone tells you, like Amo was saying, you cannot put for yourself a pad. And you're thinking, at your big age, and we're already judging in that way, you're like, at your big age, what do you mean you cannot put a pad for yourself? Eh? And they were sharing how they have to either call their sister or their mom, or because, they are the baby at home, they have to make sure they're the ones. Yeah. But then, by the time we left the summit, they were like, you know what, now I'm going to try it out on my own, and I'm be able to experience and see that I learn how to do it without having to call someone else to do it for me. So, the diverse experiences within those group discussions was amazing. Yeah.
Like really spoke for us, because most times these things are left behind. Like when people are talking about menstruation, I gotta like we'll get this usual stuff. Like you get a pad, you put, but there are other menstrual products. We were able to see the menstrual cup,
Oh yeah.
Some of us have never had an experience of even like getting close to one. So that was really like awesome, And then the chigoye big stack in my brain. like chigoye. And it's such an amazing. Many people use that cloth, like that cloth that you take chigoye.
Just so to tell you, a chigoye is a menstrual cloth. Like, remember when before we didn't have pads and bichi? So like also because of poverty, sometimes you get your old bed sheet or your old clothes that you don't use anymore. Then you wash it and then you cut pieces and then you fit on your underwear. But you have to learn how to change. Because me when I was young, I didn't know that they change munang. So I would literally be in that car thing. It burns me. Yes, I would literally walk on the side of the wall at school because I didn't want people to see me. Imagine I have a sweater, it has blood on it. My friend's sweater with blood on it. It was not, that was not dignified menstruation.
Like I said, you realize, when you talk to other people, you realize the privilege you have. Because in that moment, we realized some of us actually started with pads. And the Chigoye session was like very, very new to most of us. And then right now, from the menstrual summit, we realized there are other products. There's a tampon, there's a menstrual cup, there's reusable pads, there's for those that can stand, being motor. Yes. So there are different types of pads. Like in that moment, the privilege of I started with a pad. Was very humbling. Like, because, someone said they lost their chigoye, they were supposed to do Mikolo on it dropped, they fell out, and because what happened was they said when they told their mom had told them, when you start your periods, the first chigoye, when you come back, give it to me. Now what happens is that probably they placed it badly or something and it fell out. And when it fell out for them, they just threw it somewhere and, buried it, and they did not want. And yet, the mother probably had a reason why they did that, and they wanted to pass on information to them about it. So they don't know what happened. They don't know if whatever they are going through right now is because they didn't do what they were supposed to do with the chigoye after the very first period. So it was quite humbling. The chigoye, I started with a pad. So as we go ahead with generations, we have to teach people that they have different options. Because that time there were no options. And then there's something about Dr. Chamale shared about the kind of pads they had that would hook. So you were sure it wouldn't fall out. And I wish I could experiment that. Yes.
But right now we also have menstrual pants. You don't need a strap, menstrual pants, but it's expensive. It's not affordable for everyone. People, someone talked about cotton, but also during our times, cotton was expensive. We could only afford a chigoye. Simple chigoye.
I think for me, like the groups really brought like trust. You see how everyone was just like, me too. There were sessions where people didn't want to stop talking. Like, I have not shared yet. The room was so filled with trust and vulnerability. the thing where like we're talking about how to place pads. Where one of the participants demonstrated how they put one pad on one side, then join the pad on this side to like, because heavy flow and you don't know what's going to happen in case it falls.
To help like someone who has like a heavy flow compared to one with a lighter flow. I think they showed us a nice coping style.
Yes, they do.
Also, I like the part of the panel parts on day one. People sharing their fast, because we're sharing about very fast experiences. Like, what was your fast? And Biggie, please tell us.
Now, before you even go to that,
Yes.
I don't know if anyone ever shared, like, for some of the communities that we go to, I go to experience someone where in the north mostly, where people build houses.
Yeah, of course, true.
Exactly. Then a girl has to go there and sit for the 3 days. It was very humbling for me. I was like, what is this? Is it witchery or is it like, it was new, so I had to ask, and they're like, you don't have to go there because it's like something you hide. It's like hiding you away from society. So to them, it's like something that is common or a disease that has come into the community. It was really humbling for me. I was like, okay, you can just have a pad and go on with your life. And then I also had to witness that even when you say to go, there are people who don't have enough clothes to do that.
Yeah.
You literally, you think because you can actually have an old shirt or anything, and someone is like, I will put on this shirt until it is normal. Like, you see holes within. Exactly. They're like threads. And I'm like, do you know how much privilege we have, but we actually don't know?
What would dignified menstruation?
Understand. I read about that. Someone shared that in the menstrual huts or houses, small houses, they dig a hole. They make like they put a hole in there. It's like a mount, yes, but they put a hole in. So so the girl sits there because they can't afford. They don't know other ways of dealing with menstruation. You sit there for the 3 days, you're hidden away. But remember, it's not dignified because everyone gets to know that whoever enters that room you're isolated. And yet sometimes some people need people around them, although others may not need people around based on how it reacts to them. Growing up, I wasn't privileged. I also wasn't until I was able, until I reached that age when I can afford to buy myself a pad. But I kept using HGOE. That's all I could afford. I didn't have no one to provide that. I couldn't even afford cotton. Cotton was very, 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 very expensive. So I just decided. I grew up using that, but along the way, you see, we have had sessions where we give out pads, and then people laugh about it. But there are people who would want to use. They are praying for them for her to get a reusable pad, because they wash them and keep it. In some places, they are given one pad. She is like, at least if I can have 3, I wash one today, I can use the other one, something like that. And remember, you can't stay in a pad for that long. For a certain period of time, you have to, doctors encourage 8 hours or 7 hours. For some people, it doesn't last that because they have heavy flows. They have to keep changing. And the availability of pads to be given to these people are not there. But some of us who are privileged to have pads, you have pads, you have even different types. This one itches, I will use always I use this. Or maybe I'll buy a period pad.
And also, there's also situations where some women, like we talked about some menstrual complications, endometriosis. There's someone who's been bleeding for almost from Feb. But then imagine that person does not have a job. They don't, like, a pad is literally their life. Like, hello, I need a pad. So how do we make it easier for our communities, especially now, like you work with women living with disability? How do you provide dignified menstruation for them, or how do you advocate for dignified menstruation? And how did the summit motivate or inspire you now?
That's a very good question. I think for women living with disability, it's even much harder, because if it's, say, for example, someone living with a physical disability, they need a caregiver who is willing to help them change a pad. So someone willing to help them change a pad, willing to wash them, willing to see that they're going through a cramp or going through a difficult time, to sit with them. As you know, society will be like, I don't know what the Luganda word is, but luo ni time tutwal Latin, right? To say they kwekoza chejo ntondo, you know, they cannot do anything for themselves. If I were not here, they would not do it. But we misunderstand that there has to be an autonomy also during menstruation, for them to have a voice to say, now I need to be changed. For us, what we've been doing is to speak with caregivers and say, look, if this is your daughter and they've hit maybe 14 and they see their period, this is what you do, this is how you deal with it. Some people have been receptive, but as I don't know, maybe it's the fault of culture as well, where people are like, but also if she was not like this, she would be able to do it. It goes a long way to have constant counseling and constant conversations, which when we talk about menstrual health, people say, counseling for what? You know, counseling for what? But for persons living with disability, you need counseling for the caregiver, counseling for the person who is living with a disability, who is a menstruator, counseling for the society around them. That's just one example of someone living with a physical disability. I live with neurological disability. It all happens in my head. The sight of blood may be nauseating for me, and I would not be able to even clean myself sometimes, but now I have people that take care of me. Or I get extreme PMS, where like I am suicidal. If my sister is not there to take care of me, where do I go from here? You cannot leave me for more than 3 hours without saying, oh, are you okay inside that room? You've been too quiet. But we don't talk about this when we talk about menstrual health for persons with disability. Or I think it's like, as women alone, the mental turmoil with, now, why am I depressed? Why am I too sad? But you're also menstruating. Your body somehow just is there. Yeah. So, I mean, I think for us, what we've been trying to do is to have those conversations and attach mental professionals, mental health professionals, mental health care, because every step requires you to talk to someone. It could get so extreme that you're just lost at what do I do now? But caregivers, I think it has stood out, and we've been able to just say, your autonomy matters. Speak about it. Have these conversations with families, because we'll say, oh, I will hire someone. But in this Uganda of ours, where poverty is killing you, your caregiver is your immediate family. Yeah, that's what we've been doing for the most for us.
One of the ways we can have dignified menstruation is actually having the conversations about it, and removing the myths, and knowing that not one size fits all. Yeah, there are different people that menstruate. Yeah, we had someone that is trans, and they said they've gone off their hormones. Yeah? That means the menstruation has resumed. But now, these people have, when they are going out in public, they have to be very, very prepared. Why? Because first of all, the toilets is men or women. Now, this trans man is going to go to the men's toilet, and they will be found preparing their pad to do what? And they will be asked, what are you doing here? They will go to the women's side, and they will they'll even chase him from the door. You are a man, you cannot enter our bathrooms. So they had to tell us how they have to prepare themselves before going out into the public. Okay? Now, for us to know that kind of example means we have to hold space and know that there are different looks to menstruation. We are not all the same. So when you have that different space for people, that means in whichever form someone comes and they are probably asking for a pad, they are buying a pad, they are buying a menstrual product, they are going to maybe change. We have to understand that menstruation is not the same. We are all different. We are not in the same katiba. Of it's only women who look a certain way that menstruate. Yes, so we have to be able to hold space, and when we hold that space, we have more conversations about it. Those days, talking about menstruation was a taboo. People shared how, most of us shared how the moment you get your menstruation, your mother tells you now you're ready to be pregnant. The moment you start your menstruation, you can get pregnant, which is true. But then it doesn't mean that, no, it is true because you're ready. But listen, liar. But it's because they don't tell you why you would get pregnant. They just tell you. No. So it's like saying, it's like they are telling you in that moment, the moment you start having menstruation, you're ready to get pregnant. And then they will not take you through how you actually get pregnant. Because for you to get pregnant, you're supposed to probably have sex or be fertilized or something for you to be able to get pregnant. But you don't just get pregnant because you're having menstruation. So it was in that, in that line that we have to know how to, first of all, decipher this information to the different entities. Yes, whether they are young people, whether they are old, because even us, the old people, like the things I learned in that summit, we're like, what do you mean this is happening? Yes, because when someone told us about the 2 hours, I'm like, I wish I could do that for my child so that they don't have to go through the pain I go through. When they talk about the different signs that we get, you're like, someone faints? What do you mean someone faints? What is that? So there are so many things that we have to address. And for us to be able to address all these things, we have to have honest conversations. And in these honest conversations, it doesn't have to be one size fits all. We have to get different entities to speak about their different experiences for us to be able to collect data that is useful or information that is useful to every one of us, rather than taking it as one thing. And it is sad that sometimes it's women who downplay these things. A fellow woman telling you, what do you mean you're fainting? What do you mean you can't stand the sight of blood? We are all women. And all. And it is all those things, they get keeping menstruation, like someone is saying. So we have to have honest conversations about menstruation for us to be able to have dignified menstruation in all aspects of our lives.
We have a challenge of not educating our primary schools, because right now what happens is that kids become menstruators as early as 8, 7, and here we are not giving sexual education in school. They claim it's homosexuality, but imagine your child, a 8-year-old, gets her periods while at school without information,
What actually Biggie has spoken about has been on my mind a lot. As someone that is in an institution of the sort, I've been trying to find ways of how I can start that talk, because I have the platform where I can. So that is something I've been thinking about a lot since the Menstrual Health Summit. I've been thinking about it a lot because I realized most people that shared about their first experience, they did not get any explanations from their parents. They just got it maybe from their peers. Like, and sometimes at that age, your peers don't know much. They don't really know much. So it is important for us to actually start these conversations as early as possible, because we are going to help the nation that way. Because it brings me back to the story of someone who said she did not experience her first menstruation because she got pregnant at 14. What was supposed to be their first menstruation, they ended up pregnant. They didn't understand how could it have happened. It is because they hadn't had their menstruation, and probably that one egg was supposed to be their first menstruation, and then they ended up being pregnant at 14. Now, even 14 is a little bit high. These kids are getting their menstruation at 8 years old. Because a lot has changed. The feeding has changed. There's a lot of, the environment has changed and everything. So imagine your 8-year-old Bambi a good demo. So what are you going to do? So it made me realize that we need to start with these conversations as early as possible.
You see, like how Subi has said, luckily she's in a space of authority. So please try to fit in that gap. Yeah, try to fit in. It will try to create that gap. It will try to bridge it, so that these kids get this info. Because of that child who had their menac before, like they got pregnant, before knowing that they've gotten their menac, I would, trust me, they had lots of questions. They were like, they would have thought that, is this like a curse to me? Because why would I get pregnant without saying that I have to first like have menstruation?
And yet others are told you've started menstruation.
They still have that question. How many years later, they still have that question of how could something like this happen to me? It's because they did not have that information in that moment. But probably if they had that information, it would have been easier. But I mean, someone is like, maybe this is 20 years later, and they still have the same question, but how did this happen to me? Yes. So in all that, because most of our elders fear talking about these things. And now we have to break that barrier. We have to break those chains of talking about certain things. And the thing is, this generation is very sexually aware. Sexual. You look at the things the kids are saying. Because if they have questions, you're lucky they actually have those questions, because you can give them answers. But there are those that will not ask those questions. Instead, they'll go and find out on their own. And if they find it on their own, it gets even more dangerous. But these kids are very sexually aware. Why? In the space we are in these days, kids are being raised on phone, kids are being raised by maids, kids are being raised by schools. The parents are nowhere. And now information is on I was reading something yesterday, I think it was on X. Someone had talked about how a maid of a different house had come to house and come and told her, do you have a smart TV? She's like, no, I don't have a smart TV. What's the problem? Then she went back. Then she came back and told her, come and help me, please. And then when she went to check, what is the problem about? Because this is the kind of neighbor, they don't really get along. So she was wondering why. And I wouldn't want to enter that person's house because we don't get along. But the maid was in panic. So she followed to go and find out. And then to find out what the problem was, the maid wanted to help her delete history. So how you get curious to see what someone is deleting, and it is just X videos. You understand? Now imagine your child is home with this maid. And this is what they are watching. And even not even just that, like maybe the maid, could be deleting, and then the kid just comes, switches on the TV, then goes to the search history, and then of course they get curious. We are people. You get curious and you want to know what is this, and then what are they seeing? So in this era where parents are mostly absent, we need to open up avenues to address these things about sex, about menstruation, about the different taboos that we are experiencing.
I had something that they wanted to add on.
I wanted to give an example of that kind of conversation I had with my cousins and nieces. So we are the second phase, and we are more girls than boys. The first generation had a lot of boys. This is the first one within our family where we have more girls, and we are mostly unmarried, right? And so my sisters, my cousin, we are all just out here doing the most. So our cousin, she is so curious, and she's also like the most sensitive of all the kids. She asks the most questions. When she dreams, she'll tell you what it means. And so the conversation was like, we were watching Nickelodeon, and you know how Nickelodeon, like, boyfriend, girlfriend, what? And she's like, do you know the other episode last time there was like a girl and a girl? What does that mean? Now within the kids, I am the one they talk to the most about everything, because I just be there with them most of the times. And so she's like, yeah, and then there's this episode where like the period came. Now for me it hasn't come, but like she has like little butu thinking is like her nipples are started to show. And so she's like, now the times when like my nipple pains, why is that here? I'm like, well, I mean, they're growing, that's why it pains. And she's like, on that episode, the girl was like laughed at in class when her periods came. That's all I know. I'm like, okay, so this is how it goes. Then I started to tell her, your periods are normal. Period means blood. Your uterus, then now because I was speaking low, it was easier to like translate and then bring it back. I'm like, what happens is that 14 days, like a week before the cycle is like 28 days. So in this is what it looks like. We drew like a whole thing. She's like 8, so she understands math. I'm like, just think about it like math, that this is what your body does. So on the 28 days, this is what happens. This phase is called the luteal. This is called follicle. This is called this and that. And it was so much. I think for me, it's that let her have all the information. And then she kept asking. And then when the periods come, like now when the periods come, it means that the eggs have dropped. Then there will be blood coming. Don't be scared when you see the blood. It will come. You ask for a pad. She's like, yes. Thinking it has pads. I'm like, aha, you bring it. Bring your what? Your panty. Like, so, this is how you put. We put it, I folded. I did the first one, then she did it. And she's like, and then I'm like, then you just wear it? She's like, yes, then you just wear it. Then, like, that was, then the thing that stayed with me when she's like, okay, fine, so I know these things. But in the show, they laughed at her. I'm like, because society makes us want to laugh at the things that happen to our bodies. As a young girl, don't allow to be ashamed about what is yours. Because even when you say it's not, you have to own some of these things. It's difficult. And so what you saw was not right. It is bad. Never do that to another person. When I went back for holiday, she's like, I told my friends, the teacher said, because when I visit her, me and the teacher always go head to head. Then said that the teacher said they should not have told us these things too early. The next time I went to school, I'm like, which teacher told you? Then I went to him when they're looking at the marks. I'm like, actually, I also want to talk to you about something. Sorry. That you are talking to my little sister and this is what you said. I don't think that's right. When it comes to these things, I want you to be honest, because this is something that belongs and it will happen to her. He told, it's a whole other story, went on and told like the father that, oh, that sister is very what and this. But still today, when I'm home, I'm the one who she asks for all the time. But like, I think the thing is, charity begins at home. Yes. As a generation, like what Subi was saying, that we have the opportunity to break down these things that we've been told. And as a generation, this is like our one thing that we have to do now. Demystify. Tell them. At least be the bad parent, but you're the good parent, really.
So do you think on that note, before we go to almost, auntie, we're almost ending and it is sad. But like, I wanted to know from all of us, like, do we think the summit gave us the idea of dignified menstruation? And if yes, how did we see that? In like one...
The space, first of all, like it was held in a very like safe, brave space. Like people were really able to talk about their experiences. I felt that's dignified, because if someone is not ashamed to put face onto something, that means they are really embracing whatever it is. Yeah, I also enjoyed the menstrual products. Like most of us, okay, speaking for me, I hadn't seen some of those menstrual products before, like the menstrual cup. But I was able to see it for the first time. So that shows you that there's a variety, like how diverse we are. we were trans men, we were non-binary person, we were LBQ, we were masculine presenting persons, but there were all these like choices you could pick from to have like a cool month, like to have that ka blood when it pops naye nga tikakutta n'ogamba nze eno nze yakyekyuzingira kitegere, and then we were able to get like various how can I say it, like wealth, like wisdom. We drank from wells of wisdom. Like there was a participant who talked about the traditional aspect of it. Yeah, it might have been like a bit contradictory because we all like don't follow the same, like but it's like scratches your brain. It makes you think like, okay, if this is how things are done here, how can they be done differently? Or in that of theirs being done, is it working for them? Is it a style? Is it a mechanism? Is it a coping style which is working for them? So you try to pick that up and also bring it to other people who it might work for. So that was really awesome, like being brave and sharing all this.
The spiritual part of, do you know these are used in like rituals? Oh my God.
Actually, that's the reason.
We are only contributing to your next time. But wait, Jean, as someone who's in the medical field,
Yes, please.
having heard of those complications, weren't you like,
Yeah, I was.
like that for every other, what new? Yeah, like what new? Are they new? That's over these are the things that have been happening. There's so many.
Okay. Speaking from my perspective, I think they were not new, but to like the participants at the summit, it seems some of this information was new and fresh to their ears. Yeah, so it was really awesome to see people's minds being opened up and them asking more, delving, wanting to know more about their bodies, like wanting to take that control, So I loved that because it enabled me to see that there's a gap, a knowledge gap somewhere, and if we keep feeding that cup, if we keep filling that cup, that knowledge can become normalized and it can also be spread everywhere. Which was awesome.
Like, they did this for you with the name. On the one hand, Picasso. Yes, like, do you think the summit brought the dignified menstruation goal for others?
Yes. The space, the participants, the design to allow people, and the time that was given to people for the breaks. Yeah, but also at the end of the day, the information that people carried with while heading home. One thing I want to talk about around dignified menstruation, I think I am just giving an advice but conclusion summit was kawa, everything. I think people enjoyed. I think we should give it to more persons. And also, I wish everyone could have such kind of conversations around menstruation because we all experience menstruation differently. Yes, and for one thing, I wanted Subi to go with is one step you can take is by having conversations with parents during PTA meetings or a special meeting to speak about menstruation, because some parents are wiseacres. They might not want to speak to their children at that age, and yet you've experienced. You can speak to them about children who get menstruations at this age, or at least they can say P6 and P7 need this information. Sometimes P5, because people start school late. P4. Yes, P4 and yes. Yeah, you can seek consent because some parents might like you see menstruation is used for rituals. So if you speak to parents the need of speaking about menstruation, maybe if they get into their P's for the first chigoye, you're able to remind them keep your thing for your parents or whatever.
Piggybacking on that, like the kind of information that we give for kids has to be affirming, but also this is something that came during the summit about gender affirming menstrual care and products, that even us, we speak in a very general sense about the kind of products that we use. But I think the other thing that it also brought to light was the critique within the menstrual health products and care that we receive. For example, someone who has vaginismus cannot bear any kind of penetration, so they cannot use a tampon, they cannot use a menstrual cup, which is durable, right? Because the risk of infection, no, leave that alone, the fear of anything penetrating. Going much further, for someone who is masculine presenting, the body dysphoria of seeing a physical thing in your body is that the system that we work with, the things that have been created for women have been very curated by men, right? The intravaginal, no, the IUD, but the thing that they use to see the speculum, for example, it is huge like this with open mouth, right? This week I was reading and it does because it's metallic. So this week, like, why this is like, and I think this is like coming at the right time. I was reading this week and there's a new development. It's so slim. The new development, it looks, the new developed speculum, guys, English, science. The new speculum, one, it's silicone and it's being developed by women. It's silicone, it looks like a rose. So the way it opens, it's small and it closes. It's soft. It goes in without feeling too much. It's not intrusive. And overwhelmed. I am very passionate about this part because it feels like we are never in mind when these things are being made. They say we are going to collect and throw away. Why is it with the things that we were talking about at the summit? Why are we still taxing menstrual products? What kind of advocacy can we say that please, we want to find it in the bar the same way there is a condom? You get. But because when you think about it, it's not an issue of economy. Oh, the economy is suffering so much, we have to tax every single thing. It is something that belongs within the body and needs to be. Because you can't say we are sexualizing menstrual health. Explain that to me like I am 1 year old. How can I sexualize menstrual health when I'm telling you I need a pad to be able to wear it in the middle of my day at noon that I have felt a wetness I was not prepared for the whole day.
You and shame you.
How you're dirty.
I believe the summit, yes, achieved its objective about dignified menstruation, because ideally, feminine representing, we are a little bit more free to talk about it. But by the time we left, even the people that were uncomfortable would stand up and speak, or they would stand up and ask questions confidently because they wanted the information. Yes, they shared their experience. And because some of them have been shamed by even ourselves, who are in their spectrum. And apart from the outside world, before we even go into the outside world, if within ourselves, we have shamed ourselves so many times. When you look at the menstrual book that was launched, there's an experience of someone that happened to have an accident when they were doing what? When they were in a space. The kind of space like what you would feel like it's a safe space for you. And they were shamed for it. But by the time people left, they were confident enough to speak and to even accept that they actually do menstruate, and that when they do, they have to make sure they are clean, they have to make sure they do the right thing, they change their menstrual products in time. And so for me, I think it really achieved.
As we conclude our podcast today, we just want to celebrate this book. So we also launched a book. It's pretty in peach and pink.
With petals of blood.
I mean, it's so beautiful. It's called An Essential Guide for Lesbian, Bisexual and Queer Women 2025, Claiming Dignified Menstruation. So it just has questions and answers to every or almost all our menstrual. What do you want to talk about that?
Like, my favorite part in the book is page 16, the local names of menstruation in Uganda. As you already know, I'm going to say the one in Luo. The one, let me say the ones I can read. Anyi, that one is Luo. To say Anyi is the beginning of the period. Tudwe is also the same. Rook, right? And I love Akinyi. These are like from my end of the world. Yeah.
Never take time to get into the cultural meaning of our names. They name you, they give your name based on previously that what is happening during that period of time, or after someone, or what has happened.
Yeah, I mean, for me, because during the summit we were speaking a lot of English, and we kept bringing back this thing. Like, every time we talk about tradition, and then one of the participants would proper just flow Luganda. I'm like, this is what I want. Like, tell it to me and let me understand it in the context of my first language, you know? And like, to describe these things, it was so much. Like, you don't overthink it. Echigoye. Let me tell you, everyone went back with Echigoye. We all knew how to fold one. We all knew how to put one on, how to secure it so it doesn't fall. Another thing on the book, it's the back of the book, yeah? This one I realized it when I got back home. So at the back of the book, there's the flowery thing. Then in the middle, it looks like the different types of blood that you experience during menstruation. Like, oh my God. Yeah. So when you think about like your menstruation, that times even your blood is black, or like dark blue, or like it's dirty brown. But you see, it was so thoughtful. For me, it was so thoughtful because we never think about what does the color of my blood mean for me. Because if it is black, there is something wrong. If it's at it too light, like it's not red enough, there's also something wrong. So when like the back of the book, I sat back home, I'm like, oh my God, you guys, I know what blood, like this, I hope this was the reason why, but it does not matter whether it was it or not. But for me, it literally spoke to me so much that when we talk about menstruation, we never tell them, when your blood is black, please go and see someone. You know? Yeah.
Their findings from the book or something that was interesting.
No,
about
for
the
me, when I looked at the book first, yes, and speaking about the theme, which is dignified menstruation, it was how the pad on top was presented. Yeah, because usually when it is blood, like, people will not want to have another look. But when you see this and then you see red petals on top of the blood, you want to know what is going on. So they made it dignified in such a way that you do not get disgusted at the look of it. Yeah. But even like if a man is to look at this, they'll be able to actually want to find out what is inside the book. So this was very, I think very, very thoughtful. A lot of thought went into this, and I applaud the team that went for this. So this is beautiful. And there's something you touched that I wanted to touch, but now I've forgotten it. So carry on.
Oh my God.
I like the language. I love using menstruators, because most people think it's only women who menstruate, but we have different gender identities, so that part spoke to me, like, menstruators. We still have some trans men who menstruate, who haven't yet, like, taken on to the hormonal therapy. Exactly. It's a choice, part of their bodily autonomy. So it really was nice. And then I love the diversity of questions in the book. Like, the questions were, even the ones you think, like, this is self-explanatory, the person explained it so down to the littlest detail. They used simple English, which is not so complicated. So it's easy to understand when you read it. Yeah.
Dr. Jean talked about exactly what I wanted to say. The simplicity. Even for those who don't want to read and they need information. That book has done it. It's simplified things, no more, and it's light. It's not a lot. That when you read the first question, you want to go to the next. You want to understand the next. You want to go to the other one that follows. Before you know it, you'll have information. It is so absurd that a book like this cannot be circulated everywhere. That's the most painful bit. Maybe I don't know if we can do it an audio of it.
In different languages.
Yeah.
I will translate.
You guys running out of time, but also, Bambi, could we just Akatalekeka and then also let's applaud Dr. Sylvia Tamale for launching our book with us. We appreciate this support so much, and this is what we are saying. Mainstream organizations, give us, support. If we can't reach some people, others will. So like those collaborations are very important to making dignified menstruation a real right for women.
Akatalekeka.
1 second.
As we break chains, let us break that saying. If you want her to hide something from an African, put it in a book. Guys, let's read. Let's read. Let's start with this one, okay? Because it has information. Yes. Let's break that chain of we do not read. Let us read, please. And if we fail to read, if given a chance, like Biggie has said, and they translate it into audio, let's listen in. So that, because the information is very important. It is very important for us to have that information because it helps us. And it's not like we are saying this book is the final, it's the everything. I am sure there will be chances to even develop more because we looked at the fact that we are changing, years change, and a lot of things change. Where there was Chigoyo those days and only a pad, now there are more products. Going into 10 years down the road, it's going to be a whole different conversation about. So this is going to be, I think it will be kept. It will be developed
forever to be in your archives.
Yes, and leave alone forever being in archives, but it will be improved with time and probably more topics. So let's read, guys, from me. Thank you.
Also, like when you feel like a thing, just be like, oh, headache, page. You good? Yeah. Akatalekeka.
On the last of the last, we want some movie. You guys, you see, one of the things that we were talking about was that I already said it. I have like weird optimism. I know we don't want to be out here, but there's so many loopholes within the law that the ones we are running away from that we can still execute this. For him, I think is a movie. We did a screening during the summit. You're the actors. You did such a good job. But you see, it brought so much reality. It was so raw. For me, too biggie, because you're here, you can't say you didn't hear again.
but you know, Yaya, I am an actress. I have passion for documentaries, movies, and I don't care. It's just a matter of time. We might, now that you talk about it, so many people don't want to talk about it. We can't start with big movies or longer movies or short. Imagine if we do series of that book.
Short film.
Yeah, short films. Yeah. We release one episode. I am into that. That is my passion.
I think to put the bodies in the work, like where you can proper see that you can point to the person and local ownership. I have finished.
I think we have potential to even have these conversations with women. Not just LBQ women. With women, we get into. They can use this book to speak to fellow women about menstruation, about dignified menstruation.
Yes. So let's create more events like these. Yeah, like summits. Instead of having to always do, let's narrow it down to like the real issues that affect us.
Let's not wait for summits. Some of us that got the information, pass it on to the rest of the people. Please share. Sharing is caring. You're saving a woman out there somehow. You don't know how, you are saving a menstruator out there. So share that information. Do not be selfish.
Like our producer today, Katya attended the summit.
You've attended. We brought everything to you.
As we conclude, Banange, please, thank you so much for all of you that subscribe. Thank you so much for always listening. We feel for you, but thank you so much for always tuning in, going to your YouTube and checking us out, going to our Instagram at @far_Uganda, then on Twitter at @FarUganda, and then you can just even go and write us an email if you want at faruqinfo@gmail.com. Banange. To dignified menstruation. Yes, BaQueer Twogere.
She said what she said.